Right now, there are parades happening right outside your window.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
250 years of American democracy, it's a huge deal.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Semiquincentennial.
Hmm.
You've got fireworks, historical reenactments, speeches happening all over the country.
Right.
But the thing is, and this is what we're really getting into today, the most decisive battle for the country's future, it isn't happening at a parade ground.
No.
It's
Oh.
happening right now in like the 3 seconds you spend scrolling past a meme while you're waiting in line for coffee. There is this invisible, totally silent war raging on the screens in our pockets.
It's true. We are looking at this really profound contrast today. On one hand, we're celebrating this massive milestone of democratic endurance, right? But on the other, the very fabric of how we agree on reality, how we actually form a consensus as a society, it's under this unprecedented level of assault.
And unpacking the modern machinery of that deception, that is our entire mission for this deep dive. To do it, we're drawing exclusively from this fascinating and, honestly, pretty chilling 2026 book. It's called Semiquincentennial and Anti-American Propaganda by Professor Dr. Milton Biswas.
It's a brilliant text. Very eye-opening.
It really is. Okay, let's unpack this. Because whether you're, actively engaging in political debates online or just quickly catching up on the news during your commute, you are walking through a highly engineered digital battlefield.
You are, and you probably don't even realize it.
Exactly. And we want to give you the map to navigate it. But to really understand the sophisticated deception of 2026, we actually have to look backward first.
Right, because it hasn't always been code and algorithms.
No. We have to look at how the delivery mechanisms for propaganda have evolved over time.
Yeah, if you look back at the First World War, the mechanics of propaganda were, well, they were highly physical, very tactical.
Like the paper leaflets.
Exactly. You had print materials, these leaflets being dropped in massive quantities out of airplanes directly onto enemy troops and civilian populations.
Which is wild to think about now.
I know, right? But the fundamental goal was just to bypass official state censorship and strike directly at morale. But it was a blunt instrument.
Tangible, but totally static. I mean, you read a leaflet, maybe you pass it to a friend, but at the end of the day, it's just ink on a piece of paper.
Right.
But then you fast forward to the Second World War and the Cold War, and the introduction of radio completely rewrites the playbook.
Completely.
Because radio introduces something that paper never could, which is intimacy.
Think about what a massive paradigm shift that was, right? Before radio, political messaging was like a poster on a brick wall or some guy giving a speech in a crowded public square.
Yeah, it was very public, very distant.
But radio brought a human voice directly into the private sanctuary of your living room. You had the BBC broadcasting hope into occupied Europe. And simultaneously, you had Joseph Goebbels' Ministry of Propaganda using the exact same technology to orchestrate ideological alignment across Germany. Radio built this shared auditory identity. It didn't just tell listeners what to think. It used tone and inflection to tell them how to feel.
And then television comes along and just stacks a visual layer right on top of that emotional resonance.
Exactly.
Like during the Cold War, TV became this incredible engine for manufacturing consent through visual immediacy.
Yeah.
You didn't just hear about the space race, right? You saw it happening in your home in real time.
You were there.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Print, radio, TV, they were all essentially giant megaphones.
That's a great way to put it.
It was one powerful voice, or maybe a few powerful broadcast networks, shouting out to a massive, mostly passive crowd.
Oh, right.
But the internet is not a megaphone. It is a funhouse mirror maze where millions of people are reflecting and distorting everything else all at the exact same time.
And the mechanism that fundamentally changed there was the total collapse of traditional gatekeepers.
Like the editors and fact-checkers.
Yes. In the megaphone era, information was scarce. It was heavily filtered by established institutions. Now, obviously, those gatekeepers were certainly not perfect.
Sure.
But they did maintain a baseline of shared factual consensus. The internet democratized information publication, which, sounds utopian in theory.
Power to the people.
Exactly. But in practice, it resulted in a flood of content that completely overwhelms human cognition. We simply do not have the mental bandwidth to process it all.
Right.
So instead of living in a shared objective reality, we retreat into these fragmented, highly subjective realities.
But wait, let me push back on that for a second. Surely these engineers in Silicon Valley didn't sit in a boardroom and say, hey, let's build a machine that tears apart the fabric of society.
No, of course not.
So are these tech platforms intentionally trying to divide us? Or is this fragmentation just like an accidental byproduct of them trying to sell ads?
Well, the initial intent was almost entirely commercial, but the consequences are just as severe as if it were malicious. Professor Biswas refers to this specifically as the monetization of outrage.
The monetization of outrage.
Yeah. Digital platforms are locked in a ruthless attention economy. Their entire business model requires you to stay on the screen as long as possible so they can serve you programmatic advertising.
Right. They need eyeballs.
And human psychology dictates that our brains pay the absolute most attention to threats. Things that make us angry, indignant, or afraid. Outrage keeps you clicking, it keeps you commenting and sharing.
So the algorithm doesn't care if a news story is true or false.
The algorithm underlying your feed doesn't know what truth is, and it frankly doesn't care. It only knows what generates engagement.
Let's actually drill down into how that works, because it's not just some generic one-size-fits-all algorithm. The platforms have distinct mechanisms for harvesting that attention.
They do. Very distinct.
Take TikTok, for instance. Biswas points out it isn't just showing you videos. It's actually tracking how many milliseconds you hover over a specific frame before swiping.
Yes.
It learns incredibly fast and prioritizes delivering these bite-sized, visceral, emotional highs just to keep you locked in a dopamine loop.
And then contrast that with Facebook, which relies really heavily on social sorting.
Right.
Facebook's mechanism is designed to show you what your friends, your family, and your specific groups are reacting to. This naturally entrenches ideological tribalism because you are constantly being validated by the people you already trust.
That makes sense. And X, or Twitter, is totally different.
Oh, X functions entirely differently. It's not about family validation at all. It's an arena built for rapid-fire conflict.
The Thunderdome.
Exactly. Its structure elevates viral outrage cascades. It rewards sharp, contentious sound bites that provoke immediate counterattacks.
And then you have YouTube. Its recommendation engine was famously designed to maximize watch time. So if you watch a video on jogging, the algorithm learns that showing you a video on ultramarathons keeps you on the site longer.
It's always pushing you further.
Constantly nudging you toward the extreme of whatever your interest is. And you apply that mechanism to politics. You watch a mild critique of a local policy, and the platform slowly walked you down these increasingly extreme ideological rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Instagram drives visual identity politics, where your political expression is inextricably tied to your personal aesthetics and, lifestyle signaling.
And when you combine all these distinct mechanisms, you get trapped inside filter bubbles or echo chambers. The algorithms are ruthlessly exploiting our natural confirmation bias.
We just love being told we're right.
We inherently like it. The platform learns exactly what you believe, and it feeds you a customized, highly polarized reality that constantly affirms those beliefs.
While actively hiding anything that contradicts them.
Exactly. It aggressively filters out dissenting views. Your attention is the product being sold, and your outrage is the fuel keeping the machine running.
I mean, just think about your own digital habits for a second. How often do you feel a sudden spike of self-righteous anger while you're just absent-mindedly scrolling on your phone?
Probably every day.
Right. That feeling isn't an accident. It's the algorithm successfully cashing in on your attention. But relying on text or standard videos for outrage, it has a ceiling. To really hijack human belief, you have to hijack our eyes.
Yes.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because outrage is so profitable, entire industries have emerged to manufacture it artificially.
Right.
We aren't just talking about angry people typing on keyboards in their basement anymore. We're talking about disinformation factories.
Yeah, these are highly organized, profit-driven content mills. They operate exactly like industrial supply chains.
Wow.
They utilize artificial intelligence to churn out clickbait headlines and synthetic articles at a scale that is frankly hard for the human mind to comprehend.
And they don't care about journalism.
They have absolutely zero attachment to journalistic ethics or truth. Their sole objective is to engineer headlines that exploit our rushed judgment to generate clicks and ad revenue.
And the technology they're using to do this is evolving terrifyingly fast. It's not just fake text anymore. It's fake reality.
Yes.
The book details the rise of deepfakes and synthetic media, specifically using something called generative adversarial networks. or JANs.
JANs, right.
Wait, back up for a second. Biswas describes a generator and a discriminator battling it out. I'm just picturing two AI bots playing ping pong with a fake video.
Honestly, the ping pong analogy is actually a great way to visualize it.
Okay, but how does the discriminator actually know what to look for if the generator keeps getting better?
Well, you feed the system thousands of hours of real footage of a specific person. The generator AI attempts to create a fake video of that person, say, a politician saying something highly offensive. Then, the discriminator AI analyzes that fake video against the thousands of hours of real data to spot inconsistencies. Maybe the lighting on the cheek is slightly off, or the blink rate is unnatural.
Oh, wow.
If the discriminator spots the flaw, it rejects the video.
So the generator takes that rejection, learns from it, and tries again.
Continuously. They fight each other millions of times in a closed loop. Every single time the discriminator catches a mistake, the generator perfects that specific detail.
That is wild.
This adversarial process loops endlessly until the AI creates a forgery so flawless that the discriminator, and by extension the human eye, can no longer detect that it's synthetic.
So we end up with these hyper-realistic fake videos and audio. The source material even points out the rise of synthetic celebrities, which are entirely AI-generated influencers with millions of followers.
Right, they aren't even real people.
And these fake influencers are being used to push political agendas or drive consumer behavior. And because they are designed by an algorithm to be aesthetically perfect and completely relatable to a target demographic, they just totally bypass our normal human skepticism. We follow them like they're real friends.
Which brings us to a critical pivot point. This raises an important question. What happens to a functioning democracy when visual evidence can no longer be trusted?
Right.
For centuries, seeing was believing. A photograph or a video was the ultimate proof of an event. But AI synthetic media introduces a devastating concept that Biswas calls the liar's dividend.
The liar's dividend. I found this concept so fascinating. It essentially means that because the public knows deepfakes exist, they begin to doubt absolutely everything they see.
Let's play out a scenario. Imagine it is 48 hours before a major election. A genuine, highly damaging video is leaked showing a candidate accepting a bribe. In the past, that candidate's career would be over instantly.
Right.
But in 2026, they don't have to resign in disgrace. They simply hold a press conference, point to the existence of AI, and claim the footage is a deepfake.
Oh, wow. And even if forensic experts eventually prove the video is real, the seed of doubt has already been planted in the minds of their supporters.
Exactly. The liar's dividend means that the mere existence of synthetic media provides a permanent shield of plausible deniability for bad actors. It creates a crisis of visual trust that effectively paralyzes democratic accountability.
Because we can no longer even agree on the basic facts of what we are literally looking at.
Right.
Okay, so AI can create a flawless fake video, but a fake video just sitting on a hard drive is harmless.
Sure.
It needs a delivery system to bypass our mental firewalls and infect society. And ironically, the most effective delivery system isn't sophisticated technology at all. It's human culture.
Yes. Conspiracy theories are obviously not a new phenomenon, but the digital age has transformed them from these fringe ideas into vibrant, highly cohesive communities. When people feel anxious, powerless, or overwhelmed by a complex geopolitical world, conspiracy narratives offer a very comforting simplicity. They provide clear villains and a proxy sense of control.
And I think the crucial mechanism Biswas points out here is that people don't just join these groups for the theories themselves.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really about whether the earth is flat or a secret cabal is running the government.
Yeah.
They join for the social identity. It's about a profound sense of belonging. It's the psychological empowerment of feeling like you are part of this enlightened minority that has figured out the truth, and you are bravely fighting back against a corrupt establishment.
Right. To leave the conspiracy theory means losing your friends, your community, and your entire identity.
And the most potent delivery system for pulling people into these communities and normalizing these radical ideas.
Yeah.
Humor. Meme warfare. It's literally the weaponization of internet culture. Meme warfare is like slipping a political pill inside a piece of cultural cheese. We swallow the cheese because it's a funny picture with bold text. We laugh, we share with our friends. But our brain doesn't even register that we just ingested a payload of disinformation.
A radical ideology. Yeah.
Right. And the humor gives the person sharing it total plausible deniability. If someone gets upset, you just throw your hands up and say, relax, I was just joking.
From a psychological standpoint, the evolutionary roots of laughter are deeply tied to social bonding and signaling safety to our tribe.
Interesting.
When we laugh at a meme together, our cognitive defenses naturally drop. We aren't rigorously fact-checking a joke.
We're just laughing.
Right. Meme warfare uses that biological mechanism to normalize radical or conspiratorial ideas by making them feel safe, culturally acceptable, and emotionally resonant. It is emotional contagion optimized for maximum virality.
Okay, let's take a step back and look at the entire board we've just mapped out here.
Yeah.
We have outrage-driven algorithms built to hijack our attention. We have AI-generated deepfakes completely destroying visual trust. We have weaponized memes lowering our cognitive defenses.
It's a lot.
It is. Now take that incredibly volatile digital cocktail and hand it over to hostile foreign nations during a massive, highly symbolic national milestone, the Semiquincentennial.
For adversarial nations, the 250th anniversary of the United States is a profound geopolitical target.
It really is.
It is a highly visible opportunity to highlight the gap between America's founding ideals of liberty and equality and its current, often very messy realities.
And we need to be incredibly clear here, reporting purely on the dynamics Biswas outlines. The Semiquincentennial naturally brings up very real, very contentious domestic debates within the U.S.
Well, absolutely.
Debates over racial justice, economic inequality, historical memory. And I want to stress, we are not taking sides in any of these political issues. These are genuine, necessary societal discussions. But the point Biswas makes is that foreign adversaries are not inventing these issues from scratch. They are simply finding these existing internal fissures, these stress points in the society, and using digital tools to hammer wedges into them.
State-sponsored campaigns act as artificial amplifiers for our own domestic outrage. Take Russia's approach, for example, which Biswas categorizes as a digital viral insurgency.
Digital viral insurgency.
Yes. They deploy sophisticated troll farms and automated bot networks to inject themselves into these existing domestic debates. They will literally pose as passionate activists on both sides of a contentious issue.
Really? Both sides?
Both sides. Say a protest over a controversial law, they will push the most extreme, polarizing rhetoric possible to both groups. The goal isn't to help one side win.
So what's the goal then?
The goal is to paralyze public consensus and foster mutual paralyzing hatred.
Wow. And then China's operational approach is entirely different, right? They aren't just trying to start a fire, they're trying to rewrite the narrative entirely. The book describes it as sharp power.
Yes. Where Russia often seeks to disrupt and divide, China's digital influence operations focus heavily on long-term narrative control. They utilize this sharp power to suppress international criticism and to promote their own governance model as vastly superior and more stable than Western democracy.
Right.
They're also pushing alternative global visions, like the Belt and Road Initiative. They are playing a multi-decade game to reshape the global geopolitical order by fundamentally controlling the international information environment.
But this foreign interference isn't just limited to algorithmic manipulation and fake social media accounts. It bleeds into actual physical infrastructure and election sabotage. We are talking about the highest stakes of cyber warfare here. Advanced Persistent Threats, or APTs.
Yes, the APTs.
This is where state-backed hackers infiltrate voting systems, power grids, critical supply chains. The book actually references the historic Stuxnet worm, which was used years ago to covertly sabotage nuclear centrifuges, as the absolute blueprint for this new era of digital sabotage.
Stuxnet was revolutionary because it didn't just steal data, it fed false readouts to human operators while secretly spinning the centrifuges out of control until they destroyed themselves.
That's terrible.
It made the system lie to the people running it.
So they don't even need to drop a physical bomb to cause chaos anymore. They just need to alter a database or shut down a localized power grid on election day to completely delegitimize the results.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the ultimate goal of these foreign influence operations isn't just to win an argument online. The goal is to paralyze democratic governance entirely.
Right.
Democracy requires a baseline of shared factual reality to function. If you can erode that shared reality, if voters no longer trust the media, the electoral process, the videos they watch, or even their own neighbors, then the society becomes completely incapable of collective action.
Yeah.
The symbolic power of the 250th anniversary makes it the perfect global stage for adversaries to try and prove that the American democratic experiment is fundamentally failing.
It is an incredible amount to process. I mean, we've gone from the straightforward physical propaganda of the world wars, literally dropping paper leaflets from planes, to a modern digital landscape that is almost unrecognizable.
It really is.
We are living in an ecosystem where algorithms commodify our deepest outrage just for ad revenue, where artificial intelligence counterfeits our reality so perfectly we can't trust our own eyes, and where foreign powers weaponize our own humor, our own culture, and our own history against us.
We've built a communications infrastructure that, well, it inadvertently acts as a systemic exploit for human psychology.
So what does this all mean? It means that right now, as the parades are marching by and the fireworks are going off, you are navigating a very real minefield. But you are not powerless in this scenario.
Not at all.
The very first step to not being manipulated is understanding the actual machinery of the manipulation. It requires actively practicing what Biswas calls critical visual literacy. It means taking a breath before you hit share on a meme. And recognizing when your emotions, your sudden spike of anger, your fear, your indignation, are being actively harvested for someone else's financial profit or geopolitical gain.
It demands a conscious, daily effort to step outside the algorithmic echo chamber. We have to rigorously evaluate the informational diet we are consuming and actively choose to seek out the friction of differing opinions.
Absolutely. And I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, something that builds on everything we've unpacked today.
Okay.
Right now in 2026, today's algorithms are built to capture our attention by manipulating our outrage. They keep us hooked by making us angry. But what happens tomorrow? What happens when the next generation of AI is optimized not just to capture our attention through conflict, but to seamlessly simulate and replace our real-world human relationships entirely? When an AI can perfectly mimic a best friend, a mentor, or a romantic partner, providing infinite validation without any of the messy friction, compromise, or challenge of real human connection. Will we even want to return to reality? Or will we willingly surrender looking down at the silent war on the screens in our pockets, completely unaware that the battle is already over?